Are you bleaching your skin? And is your skin lighter because you don't like being black?
It's not somehow a choice on your part, along with the makeup, is it to be neither black or white?
Hi, I'm Robert Stringer, a Grammy Award-winning musician and music historian. On this channel, we dive deep into the real stories behind the legends of the music. Michael Jackson turned basic music videos into must-see TV like a Hollywood film. He made Thriller the best-selling album of all time. Not one of the best, no album has outsold Thriller. He sold over 400 million records, he created 13 #1 hit songs, and collected 8 Grammy Awards in a single night. But for decades, the media and the public pushed this narrative that Michael Jackson was bleaching his skin because he didn't want to be black anymore, or that he had a metal plate in his head. But what if I told you the truth is far more shocking? What if I told you that Michael Jackson actually had his lips, his eyebrows, and his hairline permanently tattooed onto his face? It sounds like a wild rumor, right? But it was confirmed by his 2009 autopsy. We're going to dive into the heartbreaking medical reasons behind that in just a moment. But first, let's put his fame into perspective. Michael Jackson wasn't just famous, he was everywhere. His music, his image, his impact, you couldn't escape it. He defined pop culture. Let me translate Michael Jackson's level of fame for Gen Z. Imagine Drake's streaming dominance, Beyonce's flawless stage performance, and Taylor Swift's massive numbers show up and show out fan base. Now combine all three into one person. But this was a time where there was no social media, no TikTok, no Instagram, no YouTube algorithms force-feeding him to your screen. He was everywhere, fans around the world loved him, and even built their own tributes. There are statues of him in Brazil, Malaysia, monuments in China, South Africa, and India. It was all built for a creative artist who throughout his entire career pursued perfection. Let's talk about the Moonwalk. Michael actually didn't invent it. There were earlier versions like tap dancer Bill Bailey gliding backwards decades prior, but I have never seen anyone do it like him. He didn't invent the move, he perfected it to a point of owning it. And then there's his legendary 1993 Super Bowl performance. It wasn't actually Michael standing on top of the Jumbotron. The illusion that he was teleporting around Rose Bowl was done with lookalikes. While fans thought he had appeared on opposite sides of the stadium, he was launched up through the floor and stood completely frozen and silent for nearly 90 seconds while the crowd lost their minds. And then he went on to deliver what I'll call the greatest halftime Super Bowl show ever. While he was busy building his monumental legacy, a completely different battle was happening behind closed doors. Remember those rumors we was talking about in the beginning?
Is your skin lighter because you don't like being black?
I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help. I'm a black American. I'm proud to be a black American. I am proud of my race. I am proud of who I am.
Confirmed by autopsy, the documented truth is that Michael had vitiligo. It's a grueling autoimmune condition that destroys melanin, not by fading it evenly, but by leaving severe irregular patches across the body. Imagine being the most photographed person on earth while your own immune system attacks your skin. The sheer psychological weight of waking up and watching your identity physically change in the mirror is devastating.
I didn't want to live with blotchiness or patches, or I wanted my milk chocolate back.
When the patches became extensive, he underwent medical pigmentation treatment to even out his skin tone. You often hear accusation that he was bleaching his skin. Saying he was bleaching his skin sounds harsh. It makes it seem intentional, like he didn't like himself. But the truth is, it's a medical approach many people with vitiligo use to cope with the effects of the disease. Because vitiligo causes unpredictable pigment loss anywhere, he had his lips and eyebrows tattooed simply to counter the effects of the disease and restore a sense of normalcy. His physical battle started long before his skin changed. Rewind to 1979. After enduring years of family teasing, Michael suffered a broken nose during a rehearsal. Because the injury restricted his breathing and threatened his vocal stamina, he underwent his first confirmed surgery. It was a medical necessity to repair his airways, but it also offered a deeply personal chance to change a feature that had been a lifelong source of insecurity. The physical turning point was in 1984 Pepsi commercial. Pyrotechnics went wrong, causing severe second and third degree burns to his scalp. This forced him into agonizing reconstructive surgery. Many people mistakenly believe he had a metal plate inserted into his head.
Yeah, his hair caught on fire. They had to split his head open. He had a plate in his head. And it gave him migraine headaches and all that, so he had to start taking those pills or whatever he was taking to combat that.
He actually underwent tissue expansion. This is a excruciating process where a silicone balloon is placed under the scalp and slowly inflated to stretch the skin. Ultimately, the traumatic procedure couldn't fully repair the burn. During the Bad and Dangerous album era, he was using hair pieces and extensions woven into his natural hair, but as the surgeries failed and his hair thinned further, compounded by the sheer stress of the 1993 allegations, he transitioned to full wigs by the mid-1990s. The world didn't actually know the full extent of this until 2009 autopsy that confirmed he was virtually bald up top. He had even gone as far as having a dark hairline tattooed onto his forehead just to help the wigs blend more naturally. Think about the costumes and surgeries he did just to feel presentable. Combine severe burn trauma, autoimmune disorders, reconstructive procedures, and crushing public scrutiny. That's not conspiracy theories. That is the heartbreaking complexity of one talented, hardworking human being. We can't talk about that scrutiny without the heaviest weight of all, the allegations. Looking strictly at the legal facts, Michael faced a massive criminal trial in 2005. After a global media frenzy, the verdict came in. He was acquitted of all charges. But winning in a courtroom doesn't mean walking away unscathed. The invasive investigation permanently altered his life. The court declared him innocent, but the court of public opinion never fully let him rest. On June 25, 2009, the world stopped when Michael died from acute propofol intoxication. To understand how he got there, you have to understand the relentless battle with severe insomnia. He was so desperate for rest that he searched for doctors willing to help, specifically seeking someone who would administer powerful surgical anesthetic. Many refused, knowing it violated basic medical standards, but eventually he found one who agreed. But anesthesia isn't real sleep. It doesn't give the body the deep, natural rest it needs to recover, leaving him exhausted night after night. That struggle ultimately ended under the care of Dr. Conrad Murray, a physician who failed to follow basic life-saving protocols and who, despite a criminal conviction, continues to deny any wrongdoing to this day. But think about how difficult it would be to live with just one of these conditions Michael Jackson had. Now imagine dealing with all of them at once, carrying the world's expectation, and still wanted to give your absolute best. He poured every ounce of himself into the stage, heart, body, and soul, leaving nothing behind. Every move, every note was a commitment to greatness. Since this is our very first video on this channel, I'd love to know what you thought. If you learned anything new about Michael Jackson that you did not know, that's what this channel is all about, providing you very interesting, commonly unknown facts about your favorite artists. It would mean the world if you subscribe, hit the like button, and be one of our first founding supporters. I'll be hanging out in the comments to talk MJ with you, so let me know, what's the one thing you think the biopic must get right, or what did they leave out? Thank you for watching. Hit the notification bell to see the next video.